Welcome, welcome, welcome to Valhalla Sports Talk SKOL Report. My name's Jeff Cran, aka the Mad Viking, and this is going to be continuation of our 2020 NFL Draft Player Prospect Series, where we look in to the players coming out for this year's 2020 NFL Draft and go over their stats, their pros, their cons, things that make us excited about this draft. The NFL Draft is due to start on April 23rd through the 25th this year, and nothing has changed as far as the coronavirus. So we haven't. It's not going to be held in Vegas, but they are going to try to do everything online and give these prospects their day in the sun as they realize their dream of becoming an NFL draft prospect. Let's get to it. Chase Young, defensive end, edge, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Unbelievable draft prospect here, ladies and gentlemen. They're saying that he is probably the best player in the 2020 NFL Draft. He comes out of the Ohio State Buckeyes, as I mentioned before. He's a junior, so he's coming out a year early, 6'5", 265 pounds out of Hyattsville, Maryland. Last year, he had 16 and a half sacks for the Ohio State Buckeyes, 32 solo tackles with 6 forced fumbles. Big improvement on his sophomore season, but even his stats in his sophomore season were nothing to sneeze at. Sophomore season, he had 25 solo tackles, 34 total tackles, 9 assists, and 5 PDs. Sacks, 10 and a half sacks in 2018. So absolute producer at the college level. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up his highlights there for you to peruse as we move on. Let's talk about some of his measurables here, okay? 6'5", 264 pounds. He's got 33 and 3/4 inch arms, and he's got 10-inch hands. NFL.com rates him as a 7.37 draft grade. So that's what they say is a perennial All-Pro. So this guy is going to make lots of Pro Bowls. He's going to be a very good player for whatever team drafts him. And let's talk a little bit player bio, right? So a little bit about this young man. He had a choice coming out of out of high school, to go to either Auburn or to go to the Ohio State Buckeyes. He chose Ohio State because he said it was a more family-friendly environment. And it turned out to be a very good decision for him. He had a lot of honors while he was there, a lot of hardware, first team. Let me see here. First team Associated Press All-American honors. Maxwell Award finalist as defensive player. Ted Hendricks and Bronco Nagurski Awards as the top defensive lineman in the country. And this all be after he was suspended for 2 games last year after receiving a loan from a family friend. So the NCAA, in their greediness, decided that wasn't cool, and they had him sit down for a couple games. I think that was near kind of just over the midpoint of the season when they finally sat him down. But it didn't hurt too bad because Ohio State still made the national championship game, but probably counted those numbers. So imagine if he had those 2 games, what his sack numbers could have been. Could he have been, 20 sacks on the season? Who knows? His NFL comparison, kind of the draft nicks out there, they're comparing him to Julius Peppers, right? So not a bad deal if you can get a guy and he has the production and the length of career that Peppers had. I think Peppers retired last year. He's about to retire this year. I can't remember, but seems like he's been around forever, right? So we'll move into his overview, okay? So he's got excellent size, length, and athleticism, okay? Loads of production at the college level. He's absolutely disruptive for the other team. They don't like to see the schedule and see that Chase Young was coming to town to play him, right? Just overwhelms the offensive linemen that play him. Let's talk a little bit about his strengths. Okay, rare physical specimen with long, chiseled, and pliable frame. So this guy is not only big, but he's bendy. So that's important for edge rushers that are trying to get around those offensive linemen so that they can get to and sack those quarterbacks. Okay, loose, fluid, agile, aggressive, and explosive. So he checks all the boxes as far as being an athlete at the NFL level. Quick twitch, eruption, out of his stance with an unbelievable first step. So exciting player and traits here. He provides early response to dislodge and clear the punch. So what they're basically saying there is, as he gets in there and him and the offensive lineman engage, he does know how to dislodge, get away from him, so he's not being held up at the line, and clears the way for his moves to get to the quarterback. Power and size to play through the blocker's edge. Big dude, strong dude, get quarterback. Pretty simple, right? Low success rate for teams trying to run around him. So not only can he rush those quarterbacks, but he can defend the run. And when he gets a hold of a running back, it's game over. You're going down because he is a sure tackler as well. So heat-seeking missile with exceptional change of direction talent. So this guy makes it up in his mind that he's going to get that quarterback, and he can do it with speed, fluidity, and he goes and gets it. Now let's talk a little bit about some of his perceived weaknesses as he comes into the 2020 NFL draft. So some things that teams would be thinking about as they drafted him. So the biggest one was he was a non-factor in the playoff loss to Clemson. Okay, happens, right? You sometimes you just have a bad game, and Ohio State got housed in that national championship game. I'm trying to remember. I think it was early on, but I mean, like in the second quarter, it felt like it was just about over, and then LSU started scoring every time they got the ball. It seemed like it was just one score after the other. Part of the reason that I'm excited about Joe Burrow, who we did the draft profile on last night. They say field awareness and anticipation is below average. I don't know how you judge that for a guy that had 16 and a half sacks, but it's something we probably could get coached up a little bit and improve on from there. He could use a better anchor in his lower half. In other words, he's standing up. He's getting too high when he's rushing the passer, which makes it easier to knock him off balance or send him in the other opposite direction, right? So something he'll also have to work around. They say he's not a very instinctive pass rusher. Again, I don't know where that comes from. If you've got 16 and a half sacks, I'd say you've got pretty good instincts, especially considering, like I said, he missed 2 games in his senior season. He'll need to get more moves to his repertoire, of course, as he enters the NFL, but they all do. I mean, they all in the college game, they're kind of a man among boys. Usually, they've matured quicker than some of those players they're playing against. So as you get to the NFL game, you're going to have to adapt and improve, or you're just going to be average. And I don't see that happening here for Mr. Young. So some of the thought as far as where he could go in the draft, a lot of analysts are saying that he's the best prospect in the entire draft this year. So could he go number 1 to the Bengals? Do the Bengals say, okay, the safer bet here is Young over Burrow, who just had that one miraculous season, or whereas Young has shown for 2 years that he is a very impressive prospect. But I see him going anywhere from 1 to like 3, but rarely below 3. So we've got the Bengals up there. The Dolphins have the opportunity to move up. Like we talked last night in the Burrow video, you've got 2 teams that have crazy draft capital in the Dolphins and the Raiders. The Dolphins have 3 first-rounders. The Raiders have 2. So maybe one of those teams move up to get him. I just want him to stay out of the NFC North. unless he's wearing purple, which is not likely at all. So again, this is the SKOL Report. So obviously we are a Minnesota Vikings fan channel. So I like to talk in these draft prospect videos about the player that we're talking about in relation to the Vikings. Chase Young could, the Vikings do have some draft capital. They've got 2 number ones. They could probably move up into that 3 range if they really wanted to. I don't see them doing that because they do have a lot of needs on both sides of the ball. But I mean, the Vikings do have the 2 number 1 picks. So in theory, they could move up there, but I don't see it happening. That being said, this will conclude our draft profile on Chase Young here, and move on from here. Valhalla Sports Talk and the SKOL Report would like to thank you for watching our latest in a series of NFL draft player profiles. We'd like to also ask you to please check out our social media below. And if you've got any questions, suggestions, reactions to the video, any ideas or thoughts on Chase Young as a player, where you'd like to see him go, maybe you'd want him on your squad, hit us up. Hit us up on our social media. Hit us up in the comment section below. Let us know how you think Chase Young is going to be as an NFL draft prospect. We also would like to ask you to please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to help our channel grow. The channel, at this point, I was saying last night, we're about a month and a half into this deal when I decided I wanted to try my hand at this whole YouTube thing. And I don't know, it's been crazy fun. We'd like to get more subscribers. We're stuck at 49. We cannot, for the life of us, get off of 49. But we're hoping that maybe this draft series where we do these player profiles might help us in that regard. But anyway, you guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay well, and as always, SKOL to the bowl.